Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. We have the First Lady of Sports Talk, the one and only Cheryl Smith. We got Goddess Kelli, the Diva of Sports Debate. Now, the silver-tongued devil, known as Bird out of Houston, was going to be back today, but today we calling him Papa, because he just had a brand new bouncing baby girl. So congratulations, Papa Bird. Now, check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring performances from small acts where they find their shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button. And I see Goddess Kelli is over there, her finger itching. So they better come strong. First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world. Not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Or they try to tell us something, so we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as Michigan State University were able to fly far away from the NCAA death penalty from the investigation into Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar is a despicable human being that he is fortunately is locked up. The NCAA says Michigan State did not violate any NCAA rules, thus they can't be penalized. While many say the entire athletic department should have received the death penalty for the hundreds of young women sexually assaulted by this deviant predator. Did the NCAA give Michigan State a break and they dodged a huge bullet? Should the NCAA have found a way to give the school a much tougher penalty? Will Larry Nassar get to suffer some of the same abuse by his prison cellmate and a few others? Does the NCAA need to put in a few new rules? Lavon Pepper, Perry Davis, Dorothy Kamashek, Dorothy Ferguson, and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Well, the NCAA needs to be ashamed of themselves that they did not find any wrongdoing of students being sexually abused and student athletes. I do not know all of the NCAA rules, but it seems to me that they were in violation of institutional control of not knowing that Nassar was abusing student athletes after students notified several people employed by Michigan State. The irony of this situation is that Michigan State is finalizing a $500 million settlement with over 300 female student athletes. If Michigan didn't do anything wrong, why would they pay out millions of dollars? Also, Nassar was found guilty, and the gymnastic coach, Kathy Kelli, I can't pronounce her name, but anyway, regardless of the fact, she was charged with lying to law enforcement because student athletes notified this woman that this man was sexually abusing them. Now, I don't know. It's really absurd that all of the issues with the handling of the Nassar situation didn't violate any NCAA rules. I mean, it's clear that the NCAA needs to revise their regulations to include sexual assault as a violation. I mean, this has happened before. It happened several times. It happened at Penn State. So I don't understand why Michigan State dodged a huge bullet, because to me, they should have been found guilty of something by the NCAA rules. I mean, it's amazing how strict these rules are when it comes to the athletes themselves, and they can't find anything wrong with the institution. I mean, these people were responsible for the well-being of these student athletes. So I really don't understand this NCAA ruling. I mean, there's a lot messed up with the system. I mean, you are so strict that you determine what athletes could eat. You determine, like, how much money they can receive for food, for any help, but yet you can't fine anybody on an institution for allowing students to be sexually assaulted? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But let me put it this way. Michigan State is not out of the woods as of yet because they're still under investigation by Michigan District Attorney for wrongdoings. And as far as Larry Nassar, well, he's already feeling the wrath of being in prison because he was recently assaulted by inmates when he was released into general population. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I just don't see this man finishing his sentencing. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the hands of his inmates or if it's going to be his own hands. But I just don't see him being here any much longer because, I mean, his life is just ruined. God, Kelly, I'm so tired of this situation with the NCAA. They're always screwing things up. What do you think about this situation?
To me, this just proves the hypocrisy and double standards of college athletics when it comes to the differences between men and women. I mean, as you mentioned, there was the entire fiasco at Penn State with Jerry Sandusky, and whether or not Joe Paterno knew about it, whether or not he covered it up, it was never entirely for sure if he did or not, but yet the man was disgraced and he died sad and alone all by himself because of the actions of Jerry Sandusky with a few football male players. Now we're talking about this guy Nasser, where he abused women on such a huge scale compared to Jerry Sandusky. Not saying either one of them is less of a piece of crap than the other. I think they are both scum of the human world. But this guy did it on such a huge scale, and yet they can't punish anyone else in this institution? And then the other part of the hypocrisy on this one is we've got a coach in Urban Meyer who was suspended for 3 games because supposedly he knew about abuse happening outside of the school with another coach against his wife who wasn't even a student. And then here we're talking about students who have been abused sexually. Young women, young impressionable women who are being abused by somebody that is supposed to be looking out for them, somebody that is supposed to have their well-being top of mind, and he took that power and he abused it in the most disgusting way possible. And many people knew about it. Women were reporting it and nothing was done about it, but yet everyone else at that school, the other coaches, they're getting away scot-free and Urban Meyer gets suspended for 3 games? I don't understand how that can be possible. Except to me it says that the American public will only cry outrage when it comes to football. And the American public doesn't care about the other student athletes. And that's all I'm saying. This entire thing has got me fired up. But that's all I'm saying.
You're right. I think a whole bunch of people fire up under this nonsense. All right, Spitface, what you're saying about this ridiculousness?
It is ridiculous. It is totally ridiculous. And the NCAA need to wake up, smell the coffee, and I'm looking at, are there any coaches who can say to their student athletes, I mean, just sit up there and actually say to them, look, I am personally not tolerating any type of sexual abuse in any form or fashion. Whether it be an assistant coach, a trainer, whether it be one of the student athletes, no tolerance. And read my lips. You will be booted out and outed. And that's just the bottom line. I don't care who it is. And I have a sense that these coaches are not saying those words because they want to be able to, well, see, if it's my star player or a coach or an assistant coach that I like or I got a family connection with, I don't want to have said that. But it's time for these coaches to step up and say, no, we, you know, how they say, I'm going to put the fear of God in you. If I see you looking crosswise, you know, you liable to get booted from the team. And I don't care. And until they start stepping up and being, you know, and being real, moral, models, you know, it's just going to keep on. You know, I'm looking at, you know, here it is, you know, Ohio State, the wrestling. God, you got the wrestling team talking about for years that it was known that this guy, you know, was doing his thing with the boys on the wrestling team. Come on. What do you, where, you know, where are your values that, you know, you can turn a blind eye? You know, you know, it boils my blood that people would allow this type of thing to go on without protesting. You know, I put it like this. You got a responsibility that if you see or think that you don't let it go. You don't say, well, look, I reported it. No, we got to do something. If you got to go call up Little Bobo and Freddie Mac, and y'all get a brown bag, you know, one of them old potato sack bags, and put over the motherfucker's head. Put over his head, and drag his ass out to the woods somewhere. Well, look, you got to do what you got to do. That's all I'm saying.
Face. But anyway, you know, the NAACA, they just need to rewrite their rules to show more respect for people that are.
You know what the NCAA need to do is fire all of them and put in women.
I think they have women currently on the board. That's the sad
part. It ain't enough of them. It ain't enough.
Condi Rice was huge there.
It ain't enough of them. They need to fire them all and replace them all with women.
Yeah.
You know, because that's when you gonna get a different. You know, you look at these corporations where a woman became the CEO. Oh, it's on. You know. It's on. They straightening some stuff out. So, you know, and not saying that the women are perfect, because there's some women who done some dastardly things, but not to the degree.
Anyway, Goddess Kelly, over to you. I'm sick of talking about this organization.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear. Making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion overpowering. Over the competition, I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest, that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. We are not talking about Claire Chalace, Doris Sams, or Sophie Curry. We are talking about the knockout punch the arbitrator has landed regarding collusion. No, we are not talking about President Trump and his Russian collusion. We are talking about the NFL owners colluding to keep Colin Kaepernick from playing because of the kneeling controversy they could have laid to rest. The arbitrator went against the NFL and referred the situation to the courts, which means Kaepernick gets to use legal discovery to determine what the owners were really thinking when no team would hire him. Has the NFL made the mistake by not hiring Kaepernick of letting him open Pandora's box? Kaepernick's legal team is more professional than Rudy Giuliani. Should President Trump try to hire them for his legal defense against Mueller? Joanne Winter, Nalda Bird, and June Peppas are asking, what you saying? I mean, I'm actually pretty proud of the arbitrator that they are putting this into the hands of the court system, because we all know, as unbiased as an arbitrator is supposed to be, they usually find in defense of the people that they are representing, or in this case, the NFL. And I think that Colin Kaepernick has got enough case, being that there are so many terrible quarterbacks that were hired with him not even being given a chance. I mean, Jay Cutler had a job last season. And if we look at some of these second-string guys that are playing out there, he definitely is better than quite a few of them. Now, it's been so long since he's been in the league at this point, who knows if he's still in shape. But that first season that no one hired him, that second season that no one hired him, definitely still in football shape, still a name, still the kind of person that could elevate a team that you could build an offense around, and then all of a sudden, the most coveted position, especially for veteran leadership in the NFL, oh, sorry, no room at the inn, Virgin Mary, you gotta go elsewhere. That's absolutely ridiculous to me. I think that the fact that nobody would take a chance on him proves that there is some collusion. Now, I don't necessarily think every NFL owner was in on the collusion, but I think there is enough of them that were, that he has got one hell of a case against the NFL when it comes to this. Of course, it's not going to be a racial discrimination sort of thing. You can't really claim that when, the majority of the NFL is black, but in this case, it's discrimination because he dared to speak up against an issue involving racial injustice. Now, of course, this protest has been extremely unpopular with a large segment of the population. Me, I absolutely applaud the protest. I am on the side of the players, on the side of free speech. And when it comes down to it, I'm on the side of the law. The courts have ruled that no employer can force you to participate in acts of patriotism. And I'm also on the side of the players when the NFL is trying to put out these new rules that if you're on the field, you have to stand. It's not in the collective bargaining agreement, so they cannot make it a punishable offense. They're trying to sneak it in under conduct detrimental, but I don't think they're going to be able to let it slide, which to me is a good thing. It is a victory. And during the preseason, we've seen players continuing the protest. So I think it's very fitting that Colin is going to get his day in court to prove his case. And the players are still rallying behind the cause. And when the protest didn't stop, when it kept going stronger and bigger than ever, then owners should have realized that hiring Colin Kaepernick wasn't going to hurt anymore in the ignorant faction of the NFL fan base, and should have just given the guy a job. And that's all I'm saying on this one. What you got, First Lady?
Well, it was clearly apparent that some of the NFL owners colluded to keep Kaepernick out of the NFL. However, I strongly feel it will be very difficult for Kaepernick's lawyers to prove there was collusion, because let's look at the situation early on when he first protested. And I like you, I support the protest, and I believe that the arbitrator was correct in letting this go to the legal system. But in the beginning, there were several occasions where teams did reach out to Colin Kaepernick to consider putting him on their team. Unfortunately, Kaepernick got in his own way initially. If you remember, the Ravens were strongly considering him. But if you forgot, his girlfriend had made made a disparaging tweet against the Raven owner and Ray Lewis. So that, she referred them to Django Unchained. So that was a little bit against Kaepernick, and the Ravens really were considering, because you know that they needed a backup quarterback. That's why they got RG3. But they were actually considering Kaepernick back then. Also, there was rumors that Kaepernick was asking too much money to be a possible backup quarterback. But, as time went on, it was clear that the owners would not consider signing Kaepernick. And the question really stems if there is enough documented evidence of collusion. Were the owners that stupid to put stuff in emails, texts, or have recorded meetings discussing Colin Kaepernick? I really don't know, but one thing was clear, that they really talked about him in public, silence was golden. And I don't think that a team, well, let me put it this way. I do think that the team should have offered Kaepernick a contract because if they had offered him a contract, they would have been able to close that Pandora box. But because they didn't do it, Kaepernick is now taking him to court. And to be honest with you, even if they had offered him a contract, I still think he would have taken them to court. And the problem with Trump's lawyer, Rudy G, he needs to shut up because the more talking he does, the more issues he creates for his defendant, his client, and he makes Mueller's case. So Trump definitely needs Kaepernick's lawyers, but I support Kaepernick, but I really think it's going to be tough for him to prove this collusion. It really will be tough because if you don't have evidence, like Mueller has more of a case against Donald Trump than I think the owners, did to Kaepernick, because I just don't believe that they put stuff in writing about this. I think they use some secret code. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I'm sure there is some sort of secret owner code, but unfortunately, I will probably not ever have enough money to learn what that secret code is. But I will say one thing when it comes to Colin Kaepernick, at least he's not on Twitter screaming rigged witch hunt every 5 minutes. But Dave, what do you have to say on this one?
I wonder if they got a code or a handshake. They got the secret handshake. But First Lady, if it's one thing that I have learned is that people that you think would be smart enough not to do something, do it. A la what's that lawyer Cohen? The tapes, a la Richard Nixon, the tapes. a la Omarosa, the tapes. Folks be putting stuff on tape, text, email all the time. And where you and I would say, well, look, that they sophisticated enough and they up it. But a lot of these owners are, I put it like this. They are great businessmen. They made billions, all of that. But you start finding out that they dumb as rocks. And you're like, wait just a minute. Because they in that little bubble. Look at Trump. In that little bubble where they hear echo chamber of how great they are. What they doing, what they own. And they get disconnected from reality. That their actions can be turned back against them. So I got I'm willing to go to Vegas, put $1 down that they got text, they got email, and somebody got recordings. And it will be used against them. And the big thing is that the NFL, they totally blew this situation. The first thing they did wrong was do something. That was the first thing they did, was do something when they should have done nothing. Because if they had done nothing, then they would have got they would have had the loudmouth in the White House say what he said and just did nothing. And after a while, the fans would have went, well, they protested. Okay, cool. When did the game start? And would have went on, because that's how they are. They would say, oh, well, we know what they're doing, and whether they liked it or not, they would have been like, look, we just waiting for the game to come on. But see, the NFL actually sat up there and added fuel to the fire when they could have just let it burn out naturally. But see, that's the thing when you think that you smarter, brighter than everybody on the planet. And I'm not just talking about the owner of the Texans or the guy up in Jerry World. I'm talking about a lot of the owners. They've been around, they done made riches, so it's like they done forgot that, because a lot of them really didn't make their money. you know, they family, they daddy, and they got to kind of, you know, move on in. Few of those owners actually built some from scratch. Few of them were bootstrappers, where they pulled them own self up by their bootstraps and got in lead. It ain't too many of them, you know. And the ones who did do that, now they might say, look, you know what, I didn't have that silver gold spoon that y'all had. So I had to build mine so they still remember what it's like out there. But I am going that the thing about Kaepernick's legal team, they are smart enough that they would never work for President Trump because he don't pay them. His lawyers don't get paid. He always find a way not to pay. His lawyers got to sue him again to get paid the money they owe. So they too smart for that. That's all I'm saying.
That is definitely true, but we will see who will have their day in court first, whether it be Colin Kaepernick or Donald Trump. But on that note, First Lady, please take us to break.
The first two listeners to email us or send a shout-out with the reason these ladies are grouped together will receive a $25 gift card from our partners at NFLShop.com and NBAStore.com. Your hint, a league of their own. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Small Acts on the first part of Shout-Out.
Donald Trump, you need a better lawyer.
The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout-out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Small Acts.
On Shout-Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout-out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today, we are featuring the music from Small Acts. All right, DJ, let's... too. All right, we're going to go to the panel to see what they think about this song. Well, actually, no, I'm going to start it off first. Let me put it this way. I like the song. The instrumental part was excellent. The voice, though, I mean, the guy can sing good, but the problem is the production was so faint. I don't know if that was the reason why they wanted to be that way, but you really couldn't hear him that well. But the part that I really could hear, I did like. So I'm going to give the track a shout-out because of the strong instrumental. I would have really preferred if the voice was much louder. For some reason, it just was very faint. Goddess Kelly, what did you think?
Well, I think this band proves that it's not the size of the axe, it's how you work it. And small acts, damn, they were working it. This was a classic jam band kind of song, and it kind of reminded me of like Carlos Santana, how he kind of picks those singers that, you know, are kind of generic, but, you know, they're there to complement what he does with the guitar. And that's how it was to me, where the singer wasn't there to be the spotlight. The singer was there to complement that amazing guitar work. And it worked for me. I liked it. I'm giving it a shout out. Awesome jam band.
All right. Well, it worked, but they just needed him to be a little bit louder for me. Spitface, what did you think of the song? You shouting it out or hitting the mute button?
I'm gonna shout it on out, but firstly, I'm kind of with Goddess Kelly that I don't think that the singer's voice was that kind of voice where you really wanted to hear him more than the way they played him, because it kind of mellowed in, and from what and listening to his voice, I'm like, nah, if they had kind of went up on that voice, I would have been hitting the mute button. So I think that they were, and this is not to take away from it, but I think he was from the singer, but I think he knew his lane, and it was like, hey, don't want to make the voice the focal when it's really the instrumentals, and you had a little bit of that Carlos Santana feel that I have to give him some. I'm shouting it on out.
Okay. Well, I did shout it out. I just thought it was too faint for me. But anyway, well, on part 2 of shout out, we'll have another performance from Small Axe. Is that the sound of my favorite friend? Is he splashing in his little water? Is it time for Flip It?
Yeah, see, you saying kind of like Flipper, you know, a little low key. not to drown things out. It is time for flipping. While hosts defend the point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Basketball legend and Hall of Famer Walt Frazier says, Kevin Durant, for all his greatness, will have an asterisk by his name because he took a shortcut to a ring by joining the team he could not beat. Now, I would not want to disagree with a legend, but this is Flip It. Defend. Well, back in the day, it would be unheard of, but after LeBron went to Miami, it's just par for the course. Don't mean a thing without that ring. Goddess Kelly, defend.
Well, Kevin Durant saw a situation where he was in OKC, where he was competing with the Diva and ball hog, Russell Westbrook, and he was all like, you know what, if I want to get mine, I got to go elsewhere. And if I'm going to go somewhere else, why would I not want to be with the best? So you know what? He might be a sellout, but that is the name of the game. You gotta look out for number one, and number one is yourself. That is what Kevin Durant did. Shit, I can't blame the man.
Don't mean a thing without that ring. I have to I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, KD, you gave Oklahoma all the love you could give them, but you wanted a ring. And you wanted a ring now. And since he came to the Warriors, and I might have this stat wrong, but it looks like he was like MVP of the championship. So it's not like he slouched his way in and just, how players like, that once they get old and, they heading toward leaving the NBA and they like, I never got a ring. And then they go join a team so that they can finally get a ring, but, before they exit stage left. Well, he said, forget that. I'm going to go to a team where I can go ahead and they already got the structure, and I can keep them getting rings. And given that he did get the MVP of the championship series, I don't think that he deserves any kind of asterisk, because he didn't come to the team and then play second fiddle. He came to the team and said, hey, guess what? I am, other than, the big guy, I'm the man. I'm the man. So he did the Warriors a favor because he putting them to where they gonna win multiple rings. First Lady, defend.
I'm a huge Walt Frazier fan, A.K. Clyde Frazier. But what in the hell was he thinking talking bad about Kevin Durant, who could consider joining the Knicks after this season? Is he crazy? I mean, I don't believe Clyde. One thing Clyde has to realize that this is the new age athlete that value their brotherhood more than having competition. Yes, Clyde's era of players definitely would not even think about joining forces to play with each other. It was about winning against your rivals. If you remember, Frazier and Earl the Pearl Monroe were arch rivals, but when Monroe was traded to the Knicks, he and the Earl the Pearl came together and put their egos aside to play with each other, and they won 2 championships for the New York Knicks, and those were the last 2 seasons that Knicks have won a championship. And don't tell me how many years it's been, because it's been a whole bunch of years. But it don't mean a thing without that ring. And Durant won 2 rings with the Warriors. And forget about it. Years later, do you think people are really going to care how he achieved those rings? All they're going to talk about is he's a champion. He's a champion because he knew he couldn't win a championship in OKC. He had to go to the Warriors. He wanted to win a championship, and that's what it's all about. It's about having the rings.
Don't mean a thing without that ring. But this is flipped it, where we defend the opposite view. LeBron left a team that wasn't diddly squat, and he took them to the championship game. He took them there. KD left a winning team to join a world champion team. Where is that asterisk? Goddess Kelli, defend.
It was a complete and utter coward move on the part of Kevin Durant. If he wanted to prove what a good player he was, then he needed to take a team that he was on, which was the OKC Thunder with Russell Westbrook, found a way to coexist and get it done. Had he been able to do that, it would have gone down as one of the best duos in NBA history. They would have rivaled Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen when it came to a duo, when you think about that. I think that what Kevin Durant did was just completely and utterly cowardly. When LeBron did it, Miami, the year before, had a losing record. Granted, they wiped the entire team and brought together a bunch of stars, and it was not the same team, but it's different. It was an experiment. This was KD going to a team that was already dominant because he couldn't beat them. And the Warriors are just as much to blame. They didn't need Kevin Durant. They won the championship without Kevin Durant. So it was cowardly. Give the man his asterisk, and to me, it tarnishes his legacy.
All right, and now when I look at the situation, I'm going, the only redemption for KD would be to go back to OKC, like LeBron went back to Cleveland and win them a ring. Now, if KD did that, that would erase the asterisk. But right now, I go, my man is asterisk bound, because it'll always be, could he have done it without having to go to a team that was already champions? Could he have done it? And we will not know unless he leaves the Warriors and goes to the Knicks. Because he takes the Knicks to a championship, everybody would go, okay, all right. But it would take something like that for that asterisk to go. And again, LeBron left a team. The Cleveland wasn't all, it was really a one-man show all on his back. So he gave it all. And they did get up there. But it wasn't like he left because he couldn't beat some other team. He left because, man, I ain't got nobody to play with around here. So that was Cleveland's fault, not the player. But the final word always goes to the First Lady.
It's one thing to leave a semi-losing team to join another team like LeBron did. I mean, everybody said LeBron really was a one-man pony on that team. He couldn't find other people to help him. But Durant joined a team that beat him in the Western Conference Championship. Durant's move was a weak one, and for this reason, Durant does deserve that asterisk next to his name. Like I said, LeBron didn't join a winning team. He joined a team that was assembled to win championships. There's a big difference. Like Goddess Kelly said, the Miami Heat had a losing record the year before. Pat Riley put the team together so they could win championships. And I'm proud to say, because I was there for all of them, that they did win championships. But Durant went to a team that had already won a championship the year before, and they were in the finals the year that he joined them. I mean, you can't compare what LeBron did to what Durant did. I mean, Durant's move to the Warriors will always be considered a chump move. But KD, as a Knicks fan, I don't care. I really don't care. Please join the Knicks in the season of the 2019 season. That's all I care about.
First Lady said, come on, get some redemption. Come on to the Knicks and prove that you can do it without that team. Plus, by 2019, they should be kind of in a situation where they can be beatable. And on that note, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2. Come on, come to the Knicks. We need you, Durant. We need you, KD. Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for the funnies. Goddess Kelly, over to you.
All right, we got a good one for you guys today. Burglar suspect found wedged between wall and garage. Los Angeles police said a burglary suspect was arrested after needing to be rescued from his position between a wall and a building. The Los Angeles Police Department said a homeowner checking their security camera footage about 11:30 p.m. Wednesday night saw a person wandering the property. The homeowner decided to check the property Thursday to see if anything had been disturbed, and they found the man was wedged between a wall and the home's garage. The Los Angeles Fire Department responded about 8:10 a.m., and it took more than an hour to free the man, who had sustained minor injuries from his ordeal. It was unclear how long he had been wedged. LAPD officer Rosario Herrera said the man was arrested on suspicion of trespassing, and police suspect he may have been involved in a nearby burglary earlier Wednesday evening. To me, that's a whole new definition of between a rock and a hard place. But you know what? Dude, I don't know. Maybe he had too many burritos and just didn't recognize the size of his own fatness, but he's taking a risk.
I'm going, he was arrested on suspicion of, sounded to me like he had trust and pass. And, well, he might have needed to pass, but he
didn't pass. He couldn't get through.
He could not complete the task, obviously. But I'm just going, there ain't no suspicion. He trespassed.
Trespassed. He was stuck.
But I think I am feeling the water splashing on me, so it must be time for my favorite underwater friend. It's time again for Flip It.
Yeah, it's time for Flip It. Remember, RG3. Well, if you forgot, he is still in the league and competing for the number 2 spot on the Ravens quarterback roster. RG3 has had a good preseason, but, and this is a big but, the Ravens usually keep only 2 quarterbacks on their regular season roster, and young buck Lamar Jackson has played well. Should the Ravens keep 3 quarterbacks this year, or let Lamar or RG3 go bye-bye? Panel defend. Forget the past. Joe Flacco needs a real backup, a la RG3, and prepare for the future. Lamar Jackson. Goddess Kelli, defense.
Absolutely. I mean, Joe Flacco is at the end of his time, and the Ravens need to prepare to be able to replace him. Now, I think that Lamar Jackson is a huge ball of potential at this point, but I'm not entirely sure how NFL ready his game is. And I think RG3 is a good quarterback to teach young Lamar a few lessons. Lamar Jackson is one of those guys, extremely mobile. Of course, RG3 came into the league that way, and look what happened to him with the knee injury. So I think that it could be a good cautionary tale to have both of these guys backing up Joe Flacco, because we all know Joe Flacco, the end is nigh, bro. Just get out.
Okay. Getting old, just need to get out. All right, Spitface, defend.
I'm sitting up here. Sometimes you get an abundance of goodies and don't know what to do with it. And I'm going Ravens. You got an abundance of goodies at quarterback if you kind of consider that Joe Flacco is really part of that abundance. I'm trying to figure out, when we do our survey, is Joe Flacco like Hall of Fame potential? And I'm going to have to check, because I ain't heard nobody talking about Joe Flacco Hall of Famer. And Joe done played a while. So I don't quite, I'm going, you need a real backup in case, one, something happened to Joe, but two, folks keep talking about how Tom Brady is going to go over the cliff. Well, Joe Flacco ain't no young buck either. Plus, when was the last time he really, did something for that team to put them in playoff contention and Super Bowl contention? It's been a while. I think Joe, we need to call it Joe Choke Flacco or Joe. I think Joe got over like a fat rat after that Super Bowl, and he's been milking that organization for a long time. So I think Joe might end up being a loser. You know, they almost lost to the Bears last year. So, you know, I ain't high on Joe Flacco. And you need somebody that can come in there who's NFL quality, who has proven that he can play. And RG3 did everything to show that he should be the number 2 quarterback. But the other part is that you need because Joe Flacco, ain't gonna last that much longer. If you got this guy who has the potential to be a true starting quarterback and you don't have to spend a draft pick to get him, you need to keep them all. You need to keep them all. I know you got to cut down and let this person that, but you need to keep them, all 3 of them together, because Joe is suspicious. So, and if you don't, because that's a mean division, Pittsburgh, the Bengals, and you know, maybe might be a little excitement coming out of Cleveland. So it can be easily a tight race. You need somebody with some experience in case Joe go down, and you need to prepare for the future.
Joe go down. All right. Joe go down. All right. Well, there's a reason to me, it's really just absurd that we're talking about letting go RG3, and absolutely ludicrous to discuss letting Lamar Jackson go when the Ravens gave up a first-round draft pick to move up to draft him. I mean, we just need to pump the brakes regarding this talk. The Ravens would need to break tradition and keep 3 quarterbacks. First, Joe Flacco has had injuries before, and there needs to be a strong backup, and RG3 is the man. Secondly, I'm sorry, I'm not sold on Lamar being the immediate backup for Flacco. He is not ready. He has shown that he is having a good preseason, but he still doesn't throw the football accurately. So he needs to work on some of his mechanics. And being a third-string quarterback would give him the opportunity to learn from both quarterbacks. Again, it would be absurd for them to get rid of one of these quarterbacks. Really. But anyway, this is Flip It, and we defend the other point. It's time to cut bait or go fishing. Give either players a chance to hook up on a team that will use them. Joe Flacco is pretty much injury-free. No use keeping 3 quarterbacks when 2 will suffice. All right, Spitface, defend.
Yeah, looking at the situation and how tight things are, Joe Flacco has had a couple of injuries over the years, but what quarterback ain't? He hasn't been like knocked out for a season, or Joe ain't had no major kind of injuries or repetitive injuries. Now he is, Joe Flacco, which I don't know if that's saying too much. and maybe having an RG3 on the bench might improve his play. But the real deal is you need to groom that young man, Lamar, to take over the reins. And the best way to groom him is to be number 2 where he can play, because at number 3, you ain't getting no reps. None. Nada. Number 2 ain't getting too many at that, but number 3, you ain't getting none. You ain't getting, because that number 2 guy got to be ready in case the number 1 guy go down. So the best thing for them to do is go ahead, cut bait, and give RG3 a chance to hook up with another team, because the boy did ball during the preseason, and he's shown that he is ready. He is a NFL quarterback, and there are teams that need a good backup who can come in and win some games for them if things get tough. And So I'm going, hey, go ahead and cut bait right now so that somebody can snatch up RG3 and everybody will be happy.
That's right. Cut him loose. Cut him loose. All right, Goddess Kelli, defend. It's time to cut bait.
All right, Baltimore, let's be honest with each other for a second here. When it comes to your division, it is ruled by the Killer Bees up in Pittsburgh. You got Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell up there. As long as these three guys are staying together, you ain't got a shot in hell at no playoffs. I hate to tell you, there's enough other teams way better than you for those wild card positions. That being said, when it comes to injuries, that's pretty much the best thing about Joe Flacco. He's not a good quarterback, but he's a reliable quarterback. He's there for you. He's going to get your team through until you have a shot to rebuild. Rebuilding means you have to fill your team with young potential talent, such as Lamar Jackson. RG3 may only be 28 years old, but he has got a lot of tread on those tires. And by tires, I mean knees. Yeah, he's proven he is NFL ready, and he balled out for the preseason. That man needs to go to a team that needs a quarterback today, not a team that needs a quarterback tomorrow, such as you. Let him go to another division, someone that I'm not entirely sure where. I mean, I'm sure Ryan Tannehill's going to get hurt, and he's going to need somebody to back him up. So you got to get rid of RG3 and let Lamar Jackson get those second-team reps to be ready for when you have a shot to take over your division, which isn't going to be this year as long as Pittsburgh is still together. You need to take that extra roster spot that you're going to waste with a third-string quarterback and use it to get, I don't know, maybe a nice little defensive project you could work on, maybe a young edge rusher, an undrafted guy that you've got time to groom, that sort of thing. So that roster spot is precious for a team that needs to rebuild for a future without a dominant Pittsburgh Steelers team.
All right. Well, I put it this way. There's a reason that the Ravens never have three quarterbacks, because they didn't need it when they have a strong backup. And this year, they have a strong backup in Lamar Jackson. The Ravens gave up a first-round draft pick to move up to draft Lamar. There is no way that he should be a third-string quarterback. In fact, they may use Jackson in a two-quarterback set this year because of his running abilities. So RG3 is a valuable asset. He has proven that he can play again, so the Ravens need to stick with their tradition of keeping only two quarterbacks and trade RG3 to a team that is desperate need of a backup quarterback. And trust me, there's a lot of teams out there that are shaking in their boots if their main quarterbacks get injured. So they can definitely find a trading partner for RG3 and get something for him, because you don't really need him right now.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
What about the Dolphins?
Yeah, someone in Florida.
The Dolphins can use him. Osweiler, give me a break. Anyway, well, Goddess Kelli, what do you have cooking over there?
All right, we have got a spicy jambalaya today. I like having conversations with kids. Grown-ups never ask me what my third favorite reptile is. So how does this relate to the future of Hugh Jackson with the Cleveland Browns and their chances of having a winning season? Now, you know, after watching HBO's Hard Knocks this season, I got some love for some of the players on the Browns. I mean, it's really humanized a lot of those players that you think are just this band of ragtag misfits. But the one person that I have less respect for after watching Hard Knocks is Hugh Jackson. I don't see where he commands the respect that a head coach needs to be successful at the position. It seems to me like Hugh Jackson is weak, like he doesn't know how to discipline his players, And he lets his offensive coordinator pretty much roll all over him when it comes to taking charge of the team. There's more respect for the lower coaches than there is for the head coaches. Hugh Jackson is like the child. I mean, he'll sit down with those players and, we all remember back in the draft when the big deal was 2 years ago that, Myles Garrett had his whole thing with the, who's my favorite dinosaur. So it's like Hugh Jackson's that kind of guy that's going to sit down and talk about dinosaurs and not talk about, lining up to get a proper rush on a quarterback. I don't know how the man who's won one game in 2 years still has a job, and Hard Knocks proved to me why he can't get the job done. He's soft, he's weak, and he's not respected. So I'm sorry, Cleveland. I know you guys are trying to do something different, and that's called not fire your coach every time you suck, because that hasn't worked out for you either, but Hugh's not the guy. He's really not. That's my opinion. What do you think, First Lady?
Well, it seems that there are snakes in the grass in the Browns organization trying to make Hugh Jackson look like a fool. He hasn't been looking like a great leader, like you said, on Hard Knocks. He's gotten into problems with his coaches, a particularly person by the name of Greg Williams. He's put players back in the game when they were injured, a particular player named Tyrod Taylor. It just seems that, like you said, Jackson doesn't look like he has control of his team. So if the Browns don't have a decent upgrade from the previous years, upgrade of 1-0 wins, it shouldn't be that hard. But Hugh needs to have a winning season for the Browns to keep him. Because I'm telling you, if he doesn't have a winning season, like you said, Goddess Kelly, there's no need to keep Hugh Jackson because he definitely doesn't show that he's a leader of men.
Spaceface, come take a bite of my jambalaya.
That jambalaya got my taste buds tingling. And, there are chameleons and there are geckos. And I'll put it like this. I got 2 killer cats, and the geckos line up for the sacrifice. And you are looking like a gecko, not a chameleon. Because, see, coaches have to be chameleon-like. They need to be able to change their colors when the adversity hits so that they can get everybody moving on the same page. They got to know when to come strong and when to, take your foot off. And it looks to me like that you got a break that management said, look, we got to get a team together with players. And I actually think that the Browns have actually put together a nice group of players that can win some games. The only problem is now they need to get a good coach. They got the trajectory going. They got some talent. They got people coming back who can ball. But they need a coach who knows how to work with the talent they got. You was a nice bridge coach. So if you messes around and they win 5 or 6 games, Cleveland, do not make the mistake of saying, well, he's moving them in the right direction. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go get you a coach. Go get you a coach. And if by some miracle they end up with a winning record, do not keep him, because the next season they'll be right back down. Still, get you a new coach. And bottom line is, no matter what happens, go get you a chameleon and let the gecko go to the cats. That's all I'm saying.
All right. While we digest this jambalaya, First Lady, take us over to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Small Acts on Shout Out Part 2. Please stay tuned.
This is not a Geico commercial. No geckos were injured in the production of this segment, but the killer cats
in the
were
grass.
killed.
You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Shout-Out Part 2, the picks, and the finale. The music flows around the globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Goddess Kelli, over to you.
All right, we have got another performance from Small Axe. So, DJ, let's hear Helpin' Hand.
I've been a flown hopper, no realized time in my life, the way it had to be. Fresh out of prison, back on the streets, just getting by and trying to make ends meet. Trying to live the good Lord's way. Yeah, I'm still strong, but they're trying to change me every day. When the road gets rocky, I try and understand, keep my wheels in the right direction if I can.
Love, won't you reach out, give us
right, that was Helpin' Hand. Is the track getting a shout out or the mute button? You know, I think this band is kind of like if Carlos Santana and Jerry Garcia had a bunch of love children and had enough love children to make a jam band, you would have Small Axe. And I like it. The guitarist is extremely talented, and all of the little pieces of the songs really complement so well. It's very put together, and it is. It's a classic jam band. I like it, so I'm going to shout it out. My only criticism is I hate the band name. I am a size queen, and anything with small in the front makes me immediately think it's bad. But then the music redeemed it. But I don't like the name Small Axe, but I love the music, so I am shouting it out. First Lady, what'd you think?
Oh, I'm going to shout this one out, too. First of all, I could hear the singer a little bit more in this song than I did the last song. So, I mean, yeah, he has a generic voice, you know. He did stay in his lane. But the band is good. I like the band. I like the music. I like the song. So I'm shouting it out.
All right. Space, what do you think?
I'm giving them a shout out. And as I said, the main emphasis can stay on the instrumentals.
All right. Well, that is the end of Shout Out, and we loved Small Axe, and if you also love Small Axe, you can hit them up at veteransofdrugwars@yahoo.com. That's veteransofdrugwars@yahoo.com. And if you would like to be heard or have any comments, you can send your emails and tracks to panties@oldgrumpyradio.com. And now my favorite part of the show, over to the First Lady for the picks.
All right, it's time for the picks. Yes, it is time for the picks. Who will win the hardball picks and wear the crown? All right, so the production assistants, they were very busy on definitely going over the results. So let's get to the results from the last 2 weeks. All right, from the week of August 18th, I had 30,000 points. Goddess Kelly, you had 10,000 points. And Spitface, you had 30,000 points. From last week, August 25th, Goddess Kelly, you had a minus 30,000 points. Spitface, you had 0 points. But guess who was rolling? I had 42,500 points. So as of today, the results are Goddess Kelly, you're in minus 10,000. Spitface, you're at 20,000. And I, right now, have 52,500 points. So I know that can be just a one-time thing. We never know how it goes when it comes to the picks. So let's get to the current picks. All right. By the end of day Friday, White Sox will have more wins than Miami. 5,000 for the correct answer, minus 7,500 for the incorrect answer. Ooh, let me see. You know what? I'm going to say the White Sox. Yes. Goddess Kelly.
I got some catch up to do, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. Spitface?
Miami.
So you say no. Texas, more wins than the Mets. 15,000 for the correct answer, minus 15,000 for the incorrect answer. Goddess Kelly?
Yes.
Spitface?
No.
I'm going to say yes. Tampa Bay, more wins than Philadelphia. 5,000 for the right answer, minus 5,000 for the incorrect answer. Spitface?
Philadelphia.
You say no. I'm going to say yes. Goddess Kelly?
Philly, no.
Okay. Seattle, more wins than Atlanta. 5,000 for the right answer, minus 5,000 for the incorrect answer. I am going to say yes. Goddess Kelly?
I'm going to say no.
Spitface?
Atlanta all the way.
No. Angels, that's the Los Angeles Angels, more wins than Pittsburgh. $25,000 for the correct answer, minus $20,000 for the incorrect answer. Goddess Kelly?
No.
Spitface?
Pirate.
I think we're all in agreement with that. I'm going to say no. All right. We'll see how everybody will do next week. And it's time for our outrageous prediction. Goddess Kelly, what is your outrageous prediction?
My outrageous prediction is that we are going to have a week with no rain. I got nothing this week, okay?
Okay. All right. Spitface, what is your outrageous prediction?
That RG3 will be a starting quarterback this season.
Ooh, that is an outrageous prediction. Well, my outrageous prediction is that Venus Williams will retire after this season. That's my outrageous prediction. All right. Last Sunday.
The Iron Lady of Tennis.
Iron Lady of Tennis.
Because she like the ever ready bunny. She just keep coming back.
All right. Last Sunday, August 26, 2018, was Women's Equality Day, and the day represents the mark of, actually the day represented an adoption of the August 26, 1920 day when women were able to vote because of the adoption of the 19th Amendment, and it gave the right for women to vote. So, again, we got the November 20 midterms election coming up. I encourage all women to get out there and vote and let your concerns be heard, because with women voting, it will definitely change an election. Goddess Kelly, what's happening in your world, and what do you want the listeners to know?
Well, everyone, head on over to my social media, and you can check out my recent guest appearance on The Real Deal with Damian Adams. You can follow me on social media at KELLIERUTTAR. And look, because we're looking to bring back the Red Zone, where we bring the sexy back to sports, tentatively we're going to have a show next week, so follow us on Twitter at The Red Zone Live.
All right, excellent. You can check me out on Cheryl Smith at First Lady of Sports. Please visit us at BrasPantySports.com, where you'll find links for each of us, original episodes, and the Bearskin Lounge with Dizzy Mack. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Join us in demanding Congress honor the dignity of our fellow citizens from Puerto Rico and convene hearing into President Trump's humanitarian disaster. Remember, they are our fellow citizens. E pluribus unum. And I'm glad to see that that report came out that there were 1,295 people that died in the hurricane. So they're hearing us, and eventually that will change. This is Cheryl Smith and the First Lady of Sports Talk. Goddess Kelly, Spitface, and you have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.